What's up, everybody? Gonna kind of go over my picks for UFC 214. Man, this card is stacked. I can't wait for tonight. Hopefully we get some people in here with some questions, comments, such. This is my UFC Pick'em fantasy page, and I'll probably just go over the main card and give you my predictions. First off, I don't have any technical analysis, man. I'm just a fan, and I just kind of call it how I think it's going to go down. But all I usually hope for is just some really good fights between two top athletes, and, you know, hopefully the best person comes out on top. And, you know, just hopefully they put on a good show, and that's what I really hope for. First off, we have on the main card Jimmy Manhwa versus Vulcan Özdemir. Özdemir, who knows? But he's a Vulcan, so I think he might be related to Spock. Both of these dudes have KO power, that's for sure. I don't know how Vulcan knocked out Misha Serkinov his last fight. I mean, he barely just... I mean, he didn't even fully cock his punch, and he just tapped Serkinov on the side of the head, and Serkinov was done. So this one is kind of a coin flip, you know. I think either of these guys could, you know, KO each other at any time in the fight. So I think Manhwa has more of a technical boxing skills. So I would go with Manhwa by KO, first or second round. I'm just going first here, but who knows, you know, they might have a feeling out process in the first round and be hesitant since they know each other has the KO power. So, but my pick would be Manhwa, you know, first round KO. Although Özdemir could surprise some people, you know. So, Manhwa KO round 1. Next fight up, man, this is like two of your best friends fighting. You just don't know who to pick, man. You don't want them to fight, you know, because I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I'm actually a bigger fan. I love Donald Cerrone, man. I met him one time. He was really cool. He was a little drunk, you know, drinking his Budweiser. He really does drink his Budweiser. So I'm a big fan of Cerrone. That's why I'm going with Cerrone. Even though I think this could be just one of the greatest fights ever, and I just really didn't know who to pick, man. But I just went, you know, who I'm more of a fan of, Cerrone. This is another coin flip, man. You know, if Robbie rips to the body, and, you know, Cerrone's shown that, I don't know if he's had problems with his ribs or what, but, you know, when you attack his body, man, it's messed him up in the past. So, you know, I think if Robbie Lawler gets in there and gets close and starts ripping to the body, he can definitely, I mean, he has knockout power, so, I mean, he could definitely KO Cerrone, and Cerrone's been shown to take some damage in the early going of his fights. But I think Cerrone's going to surprise Lawler with a head kick and get a KO. I mean, everybody knows Cerrone's got these great head kicks, you know, but he still gets them through. I mean, he got it through Rick Story, got it through Matt Brown. Who else? He just gets them through, you know. I don't know, you know, they just don't see it coming. I mean, he disguises it well with his punches, I guess. And if you remember the Lawler fight versus McDonald, Roy McDonald landed a head kick that kind of rocked Robbie. So I think he's susceptible to that. So that's another reason I'm kind of going with Cerrone. But who do you guys watching have? Let me know. Manhwa, Özdemir, Lawler, Cerrone. On to the next. Man, with a record that Cyborg shown, how can you pick against her? This one's kind of a no-brainer to me. Not to discount Tanya Evinger. I'm not super familiar with her. I mean, I know who she is. I don't really watch a lot of Invicta. I've watched a few of their shows, not a lot. From all accounts, though, she's super tough. She's durable. She can take some damage. So, that's only kind of the reason that I went round 2. I think maybe she can survive through the first round. And then, I think Cyborg will just going to piece her up in the second round. But, who knows? I just really hope that it's a good scrap. And maybe Evinger will surprise some people. Maybe she can use her wrestling and get Cyborg to the ground and get Cyborg on her back. And, who knows, man, if she can, negate Cyborg's punches and stuff with putting her on her back. Maybe she can find a submission, or maybe she can do some damage down there, But I don't foresee that happening, so I'm going Cyborg KO round 2 to get it done. Tyron Woodley and Demian Maia. I initially wasn't really a big fan of Tyron Woodley. He seemed kind of like a whiner and, bitching about his situation all the time. But in the last several months, he's kind of grown on me. He's been real respectful towards Maia, and he seems like he's matured as the champion. His last 2 fights, his fight against Lawler was exciting, obviously with the KO, but his last 2 fights with the Wonder Boy have been lackluster, to say the least. And I do think he won the second fight against Wonder Boy. I kind of thought Wonder Boy won the first fight when it was a draw, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm a big fan of Maia, man. He's just a pure martial artist through and through. A real respectful dude. He's not boisterous. He's not, just real respectful. And like I said, martial artist through and through. I think he's on a 7-fight win streak. So he really does deserve a title shot. I think Maia is going to be a little bit of the bigger guy, because Maia used to fight at middleweight. So if Maia can stay safe for through the first round or 2, I think he can figure it out, and he gets every one of his opponents down to the ground at least once or twice. So I think if he gets it to the ground, he's just like a boa constrictor. I don't think anybody has figured him out, and I don't think Tyron Woodley will figure him out, at least on the ground. Now, if Maia comes in, blindly, and Tyron connects, that's night-night. Tyron has that power. But I thought that Condit would be able to connect with Maia, and I picked Condit to beat Maia, but man, was that a one-sided affair. So this could go, two different ways. Tyron could connect on Maia as he shoots in, and with a flying knee or maybe an uppercut, or Maia gets him down and he just works his magic. I'm thinking maybe Maia's gonna stay safe the first couple rounds, and then somehow get Tyron's back and just choke him out, maybe third round. I'm a big fan of Maia, and I really hope he wins the title. I don't know if UFC really would want him to win, because he's not really outspoken. He's not the most flashy, so I don't know if they'd want that as a champ. But, what can you do? You have to, whoever the best man is that night, you have to go with it. And I'm kind of hoping Maia gets the job done, so I picked him by sub round 3. Man, the fight that everybody's been waiting for. A long time ago, when I first saw John Jones, man, I just knew something special about this dude was special. You could just see the talent. And I'm sure obviously I'm not the only one, but you saw that this dude had talent beyond his age. I forget how old he was when I first saw him. Early 20s. and you just saw something special, man. The only other dude that I think I've seen, initially when he first started in the UFC, and I just thought he was something special, was Cain Velasquez. And, over the years, Jon Jones has just declined as far as me being a fan of him. And it's not necessarily, his fighting style. I mean, he's obviously the greatest, if not one of the greatest ever. I wish he would get his shit together and just kind of own up to the fact that he's fucked up some, and just say, you know what, I fucked up, and I need to do better, da-da-da. But, that stuff's in the past, and, I really have a rooting interest, and I hope Daniel Cormier wins. Yeah, he did own up to it, but he still seems like he has a chip on his shoulder, and he's kind of, like saying, fuck you to the people, like saying, what do y'all care? It's my life. Which, in a sense, is true. I'm just coming from a fan's perspective. I really don't care what he does in his own personal life. I just care when it affects, like being able to see him perform and in the cage and get fights in his career. That's really where I come from. But as far as what he personally does, whether it's drugs or stuff like that, I really could care less, Yeah, I agree, man. I wouldn't, if I had millions of dollars when I was 23, I'd probably be dead by now. So, I totally understand that. So, hopefully, he, cleans it up and we see a long, great career out of him. But in this fight, man, I really would love to see Daniel Cormier win, not only to, solidify him as the true champ, but then we would get a third fight, and I think that would be awesome. You know what I mean? The rubber match, the trilogy. I think that would just be great for the history of these guys. So, that I would really wish for Daniel Cormier to win. He wrestled at Oklahoma State. I live here in Oklahoma, so that's another kind of rooting interest. But if I'm real with myself, man, I think the main event doesn't start for several hours, but the undercards start in a couple hours. But, I watch how Daniel Cormier wins his fights, and, he's not really a knockout artist. Most of the time he clinches with his opponents, he gets him to the ground, and he'll either submit him or kind of ground him, pound him. I just don't foresee that he can get Jones down, and if he does get Jones down, I think John will just pop back up, and I just don't see that Daniel could, beat Jones in the standing war. Yeah, Jones is definitely, seems leaner, but yet more muscular. He did weigh in, I think, 204.5, somewhere around there. He's definitely more muscular. But, I mean, they say, abs don't win fights, man. It really doesn't matter what your body looks like. It matters, how you can perform and your cardiovascular and how long you can keep up, a high pace. And, for Daniel, I think if he can, negate Jones's reach advantage, which is very significant. Like, I think I don't know if it's 8 inches or so. 8 inches or so. That's like having a stick, man. It's like you can poke at somebody and they're not even near you. So if Daniel can get in on that and maybe force John into the clinch, push him up against the cage, work that dirty box uppercuts, he might have a chance. I just don't know. I don't think he's going to win, even though I would want Cormier to win. He's a great dude from all accounts. He gives back to the community. He's a team captain. I mean, he's done it all, and but I think John is going to. I think Jon Jones is going to get it. I think they're going to go to the distance. I think it'll be maybe somewhat similar to the first fight. But who knows, man? They both have some bad blood, and they might both look for that finish, you know. And if they're both seeking a KO or something like that, they might make a mistake, and the other opponent might capitalize on that. I don't know if Cormier's cardio is better. In the last fight, he kind of slowed down in the fourth round, and he even, I think, admitted to kind of taking his foot off the gas and kind of take off the fourth round in order to try to come back stronger in the fifth round. But he lost that round. But he can't do that, you know. I think he's going to have to go fast and hard for as long as the fight is playing out, you know. And that very well could be all 5 rounds. That's another thing, you know. John hasn't fought in I don't know how many years. And his last fight against Owen St. Preux, you know, people say he didn't look that great, which Jones gave it a reason why he didn't look that great. You know, he explained how Owen St. Preux is very unorthodox and kind of he gets his knockouts from wild places. So John said he was very cautious and didn't want to expose himself to something wild, and so he kind of played it a little cautious that fight. So I don't know if we can take a lot away from the OSP fight. But, you know, having that many years off, you know, I don't know if ring rust is real. I believe it's real, man. You know, it's shown that pretty much in most fighters, at least for maybe the first couple rounds, you know, until you start to get your game legs back on and, you know, that game speed going. The only dude that didn't seem to bother him ring rust wise is Dominic Cruz, man. That dude came out in a fury after being off for like 3 years or so. But man, this is exciting, man. You know, I can't wait for this fight. I really hope Cormier wins. Then we get a trilogy fight. That would be awesome. But if you're just not joining, man, I went over the main card really. I took Manhwa KO round 1. Took Cerrone KO round 2. Excuse me, Cyborg KO round 2, and I'm going with Maia sub in the, you know, possibly in the first round if he can get a hold of Woodley, but I'm going 3rd round here, and then finally I'm going to go with Jon Jones by decision. Who do you guys in the if you're still listening, watching, throw me out some picks, man. Who do you guys got? Plus, let's say, you know, Jon Jones wins. You know, who's next? You know, I like to play the what if game. Sometimes, what if, you know, what if Jon Jones wins? Who's next? You know, there's a lot of talk about him going up to heavyweight, maybe fighting Brock Lesnar, which, man, I think that's a bunch of shit, because even Jon Jones said that he would like to go up to heavyweight, but he said if his first fight at heavyweight, he would want to fight somebody that's a lighter heavyweight, maybe in the 230s, 240s. And we all know Brock cuts to 265. So I would not foresee that to be Jon Jones's first heavyweight fight. I don't think that'll happen. I think Gustafsson definitely should be next if Jon Jones wins. If Gust is not ready, possibly the winner between Manhwa and Oezdemir, you know, that would be cool. But I definitely think Alexander Gustafsson does deserve a title shot. Is there any questions before I go? Anybody still watching? Anybody want to throw out anything, talk about anything? Or is there any other fights on this card that people are looking forward to? I'll tell you another fight. Man, Lamas, Jason Knight. Not a lot of people talking about this, but then again, it's hard to get traction when there's so many good fights, you know. And Jason Knight's exciting to watch, man, but this dude, he's crazy, man. He leaves himself open sometimes for some shots, you know. So I think he's susceptible to getting KO'd, but at the same time, you know, he can do some crazy stuff, man. He can submit you, he can knock you out too. So that's about it, really, man. So if anybody has any questions or any discussion points, hit me up if you want. That would be cool. Send any questions in the comment section below. If not, I'm probably gonna go ahead and end the stream. Plus, if you guys are on YouTube, you can follow me. Find my channel here real quick. Yeah, that's my channel, Lamas 1976. You know, I don't post too much, but you know, here and there, I'm gonna try to start doing better and posting more. This was from my Vegas trip during the International Fight Week. I did a room review because I stayed in New York. But yeah, I do some, you know, I did a lot of videos of the Ultimate Fighter. I kind of did recaps and stuff like that. So yeah, if y'all want to follow me on YouTube, that'd be cool. Appreciate everybody watching, man, and enjoy the fights tonight. Peace out.